This is electrosurgery. This is not a trick. This is not magic. This really can happen during surgery. I'm Yoav Mintz, the chairman of the EAES Technology Committee, and I will talk briefly about electrosurgery and, more importantly, about a specific danger when using monopolar instruments, which every surgeon must know about. We use monopolar devices in our operating rooms all the time, but we do not realize that each year there are more than 40,000 electrosurgical related injuries in the US alone, and 70% of them are from monopolar instruments. So let's understand how electrosurgery works and how injuries may happen without even us realizing it. First thing we must understand is that electrosurgery is not cautery. We do not cauterize anything. Cautery is the passive transfer of heat to the body, like marking cattle with the brand of a farm. Electrosurgery is more sophisticated and controlled. It is actually electromagnetic energy arriving from the instrument transformed to kinetic energy in the body, which creates controlled thermal energy. So how does it work? The electrosurgery unit, or the ESU, uses an alternating current in the frequency of 500,000 times per second, or 500,000 hertz. This is why we call it radio frequency, or RF energy, because this is the range of radio wave transmission. Electrosurgery is a closed circuit, which begins at the ESU, going into the active electrode, through the body, into the dispersive electrode, and back into the ESU. There is no grounding in this system, because any accidental grounding from a wire touching the ground or a retractor attached to a defective OR table will shift the current with no control to the ground and will result in an electrosurgical burn. So when the electrode flows through the active electrode and touches the body, it causes a polarity in the cells, so the positively ions and the proteins shift towards the active electrode. But then the polarity switches, so the ions shift away from the electrode. This process happens 500,000 times a second, causing friction and heat within the cells. The magic happens in the temperature range of 60 to 90 degrees Celsius, which causes dehydration of the cells and coagulation of proteins. This is the beauty of electrosurgery and the basics of cutting and coagulation using RF energy. So you're probably thinking, great, ESU, RF, 500,000 times a second, how is this relevant to me when I'm operating? Well, I have two words for you: capacitive coupling. Capacitive coupling is one of the mysterious and unknown dangers inherent to electrosurgery. This phenomenon happens when the active electrode, for example, this laparoscopic hook, is activated, but the hook does not touch the body, leaving the circuit open. The electromagnetic energy then is stored in the hook, which acts like a capacitor, and it can be transferred to another instrument nearby, such as this grasper. If the grasper is in contact with the body, the circuit is closed, and the energy will be delivered through that grasper rather than the hook, causing a burn in the contact point. You're probably thinking that this happens because I'm not wearing gloves. So here I am with gloves on. And voila, same thing happens. Actually, the grasper doesn't even have to be held by the same surgeon, but can be held by the assistant, causing the same injury without even realizing it, because the grasper is not in the field of view. The capacitive coupling will not occur if the active instrument is touching the body, closing a circuit on its own. Now that you're freaking out and thinking, how was I operating all this time without knowing this potential danger, let's understand how to avoid this. Actually, it's very simple. First, do not activate the instrument in air. This leaves the circuit open and enables capacitive coupling. Second, always use the lowest energy needed that would lower the likelihood of capacitive coupling. And third, use the cutting mode rather than the coag mode. At the same watt settings, coag mode releases the energy with spikes of high voltage, which causes capacitive coupling, while in the cutting mode, same energy is released, but in a continuous low voltage with much lower likelihood of capacitive coupling. That's all for today. To learn more about electrosurgery, you can log in free to fusedidactic.org an excellent Fuse online learning module run by Sages. To learn more about the technology used in the OR, look for more EAES tech vlogs on the EAES website or subscribe to this channel.